It's time for Business Matters with Don Ma. Don, thanks for joining us. How's it going?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Yeah, doing fantastic. Living the dream, in fact.
All right. Okay, let me start off with retail data, actually. Holiday shopping season looks to be great. Strong start, in fact, and a sign of continued resilience for American consumers here. The Commerce Department reported that November retail sales increased more than Wall Street analysts had expected in November, and the gains were driven by a rise in motor vehicle and auto starts, auto parts sales, and online sales as well. Experts are seeing signs that consumer spending could slow in the new year, though, as potential new tariffs put pressure on prices. Meanwhile, most Americans expect to retire at 65, but Social Security's full retirement age is set to increase in the new year. It's going up by 2 months, yet again, to 66 years old and 10 months. For people born in 1959, that is. Reaching the full retirement age is when a worker can start claiming full benefits, and this is based on years worked and income during those years. The full retirement age used to be 65, but Congress overhauled the program in the 80s to address longer life expectancies. China-based social media platform TikTok is asking the Supreme Court to block a federal law that would ban it in the United States. Lawyers for TikTok and its parent company ByteDance are looking to beat the law's January 19th deadline. Under the law, TikTok will be banned from U.S. app stores on that date unless ByteDance sells it to a U.S. buyer. The companies are hoping to delay the ban until after President-elect Trump takes office. Trump, who once supported the ban, used the platform during his campaign to reach younger voters. He said his administration would take a look at the situation. The companies have said that a shutdown lasting just a single month would cause TikTok to lose about a third of its daily users in the U.S. Meanwhile, the European Commission opened formal proceedings against TikTok today over its suspected failure to limit election interference. The probe will look into the platform's policy on political advertisements and pay for political content. Earlier this month, the Commission ordered TikTok to freeze data linked to Romania's elections under the bloc's Sweeping Digital Services Act. Romania's top court subsequently annulled the presidential election after accusations of Russian meddling. Looking ahead, the Commission has interference concerns for Germany's parliamentary election in February. You may be getting cut off from your cold brew. That's because the union representing more than 10,000 Starbucks baristas has authorized a potential strike. Workers United wants the coffee giant to increase wages and staffing as well as stores and implement better schedules. On top of that, in a statement, Starbucks said it was disappointed by the authorization and said it's committed to reach a final framework agreement. The union said it hasn't decided when it would strike. A coalition is suing the Environmental Protection Agency, claiming weak regulation of a toxic flame retardant found in black plastic kitchen utensils. Deca-BDE is linked to cancer and harm to children's brain development. The lawsuit also alleges that the chemical threatens indigenous and frontline communities due to inadequate EPA regulation. NTD's Sean Marshall has more details.
The lawsuit is accusing the Environmental Protection Agency of failing to protect the public from a dangerous flame retardant known as Deca-BDE. The suit was filed on behalf of indigenous people in Alaska and California and consumer protection organizations. A recent study says that Deca-BDE has been found in black plastic kitchen utensils, takeout containers, grocery meat and produce trays, and children's toys that have been recycled from electronic waste, such as old televisions and computer monitors. The agency restricted the use of Deca-BDE in 2021 after the synthetic chemical was linked to cancer, endocrine and thyroid issues, fetal and child development and neural behavioral function, and reproductive and immune system toxicity. The lawsuit's being filed on behalf of the Yurok tribe, the largest Native American tribe in California, as well as for Alaska Community Action on Toxics, a nonprofit that advocates for the indigenous people of Alaska. Both the Yurok and Alaska's indigenous people rely heavily on the local environment for their food and livelihood. Catherine O'Brien, a senior attorney for the nonprofit Earth Justice, said, quote, in addition to threatening the health of tribal members, those chemicals also threaten the survival and recovery of the salmon populations on which the tribe's culture and economy depend. Another plaintiff is the Center for Environmental Transformation in Camden, New Jersey. Camden has a vehicle recycling facility and a solid waste incinerator thought to be significant sources of decabede releases to the local environment. O'Brien said, local burning of trash is also another route of exposure, she added. America's Test Kitchen notes that if kitchen utensils are made from virgin or new black plastic, they might still be okay to use because that material is unlikely to contain the contaminants found in recycled products. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
The federal government will soon require alarms for passengers in rear seats who are not wearing seatbelts. A visual warning will be required to inform the driver which seatbelts are being used and which are not. When they start the vehicle, that's only if the system determines at least one passenger in the back is not wearing a seatbelt. The warning must at least ring for at least 1 minute. The rule also requires the alarm for the front passenger seat. That warning must activate for 30 seconds when a passenger is not, when the passenger is in the seat but not wearing a seatbelt. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said the updated requirements could save 50 lives a year. Robotaxis are en route to Tokyo. Alphabet-owned Waymo plans to start testing in the capital early next year. This is Waymo's first stop towards international expansion. The robotaxi developer is partnering with Japan's largest taxi operator, Nihon Katsu. Its drivers will manually operate the Waymo vehicles first to map key areas. That data will be used to help train the company's AI systems. Gold slipped today as investors looked ahead to the Federal Reserve's interest rate decision. The central bank is expected to adopt a cautious approach to monetary policy next year. Spot gold and U.S. gold futures were down almost 0.5 percentage point. The dollar and benchmark 10-year Treasury yields rose ahead of the Fed's final policy meeting of the year. A quarter-point interest rate cut is expected tomorrow afternoon. However, the central bank will indicate it will lower borrowing rates gradually. The Fed eased interest rates in September for the first time in 4 years. And Boeing is slowly ramping up production after a worker strike ended more than a month ago. Safety inspectors inside the aircraft manufacturer's 737 MAX factory are combing through half-constructed planes for defects they may have missed during the 7-week strike. NTD's Andrew Thomas has more on a local supplier contending with the delays.
Boeing's production challenge has ripple effects down the supply chain. Rosemary Brester is the CEO of Seattle-area supplier Hobart Machined Products. She and her husband Larry had hoped they'd be able to get their metal aircraft components processed more quickly following the end of the strike, but delays continue.
And we saw a drastic shift in how our business, the income coming into the business and the type of work that we were getting in the jobs totally shifted. And so it became a struggle, and then the strike hit, and then it just made it worse.
The Bresters' long relationship with Boeing and other aerospace companies has taken them across the world. It's also given them the opportunity to meet fascinating people.
We actually had drinks with Buzz Aldrin at one of the aerospace events in the UK. And so I think that was a highlight, and we still stay connected today.
Rosemary and Larry's adult children want them to retire, but they're not quite ready to hang up their equipment.
We still don't know if we'll ever retire. Our kids want us to retire. Mom, it's time. And we're going, we would be bored to death. We love the people that we work with and associate with, and we've made wonderful friends.
Boeing said it had recently restarted MAX production. So far, no new 737 MAX planes have been completed. For now, the Bresters' machine shop sits idle with the exception of Larry's daily machining work. Rosemary said she doesn't expect to hire new employees until she sees some stability at Boeing. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
President-elect Donald Trump says his team is looking into the possibility of privatizing the U.S. Postal Service. He says it's, quote, not the worst idea I've heard. Trump says shipping is different today because of Amazon, UPS, and FedEx. The Constitution gives Congress the power to establish post offices. Alibaba, China's big tech e-commerce platform, selling its in-time department store chain and booking a $1.3 billion loss to do so. The Chinese giant bought the company for twice that amount back in 2017. At the time, it wanted to expand into bricks and mortar retail. Now Alibaba is taking a hit as it speeds up restructuring process, aiming to focus on its core e-commerce business. Weak Chinese consumer spending has also put stores of all kinds under pressure. Alibaba is selling in time to a consortium made up of China-based clothing makers. It may also look to sell other consumer sector assets, including grocery business Fresh Hippo. The Democratic Republic of Congo sued Apple in France and Belgium, accused the firm of being complicit in the conflict minerals trade. Here's a closer look at that.
Congo in Central Africa is a major source of tin, tantalum, and tungsten, the so-called 3T minerals used in computers and mobile phones. But some independent mines are run by armed groups. The UN says they've been involved in massacres of civilians, mass rapes, and other crimes. Lawyers for the state of Congo argue Apple uses minerals pillaged from Congo and laundered through international supply chains, which renders Apple complicit in crimes. The tech giant says it audits suppliers, publishes findings, and funds bodies that seek to improve mineral traceability. Its 2023 filing on conflict minerals to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission said none of the smelters or refiners of 3T minerals in its supply chain had financed or benefited armed groups in Congo or neighboring countries. Now, these are thought to be the Congolese state's first criminal complaints against a major tech company. The allegations ranging from covering up war crimes to the laundering of tainted minerals and deceptive commercial practices don't only target Apple's European subsidiaries, but the group as a whole. Central to Congo's complaints are its criticisms of a metals industry-funded monitoring and certification scheme, ITSCI, which helps companies like Apple perform due diligence on suppliers of 3T minerals from African countries. Lawyers say Apple has been using it as a fig leaf to falsely present its supply chain as clean.
The Federal Trade Commission is requiring ticket sellers, hotels, and vacation rental sites to disclose total prices up front. The rule also prohibits concealing add-on charges until the last minute. The regulation would require service fees, resort fees, and other charges to be included in advertised prices. The FTC passed the measure 4-1. Andrew Ferguson was the lone dissenting vote. Ferguson is set to take over as the agency's chair when President-elect Donald Trump takes office. Trump would seek to withdraw the rule for further review. Republicans in control of Congress could pass legislation to eliminate it altogether. After 7 days of deliberation, a San Francisco jury has reached a verdict in the murder of the founder of Cash App. The jury today found tech consultant Nima Momeni guilty of second-degree murder. The victim, 43-year-old Bob Lee, suffered 3 stab wounds in April last year. He was the founder of the Cash App mobile payment company. Prosecutors said Momeni was angry with Lee for introducing his younger sister to a drug dealer who allegedly gave her drugs and sexually assaulted her. But Momeni claimed her self-defense and said Lee was the one who attacked him with the knife. The guilty verdict carries a sentence of 16 years to life. A German-Canadian man has been sentenced to 24 months in prison for stealing Tesla's electric vehicle battery trade secrets. The Justice Department says Klaus Pflugbeil conspired with partner Yilong Shao to sell Tesla's secrets to undercover FBI agents. The agents posed as business people from Long Island. Prosecutors say Pflugbeil and Shao used the stolen information to build their own EV battery company with a location in China and other countries. Officials say the theft could benefit China in a critical national security industry. Shao remains at large. Pflugbeil pleaded guilty in June to conspiracy charge. A European Union privacy watchdog hit Meta with $260 million in fines yesterday. The penalty comes after an investigation into a 2018 data breach that exposed millions of accounts. The hack involved 3 distinct bugs in Facebook's View As feature, which lets people see how their profiles appear to others. Ireland's Data Protection Commission issued the fines after it found multiple rules violations under its general data protection regulation. Meta said it had already fixed the problem in 2018 and would appeal the decision. The company has said it alerted the FBI and regulators in the US and Europe after discovering the bug. When it first disclosed the breach, Facebook said 50 million user accounts were affected. The commission ultimately found the actual number was around 29 million. Walmart testing out body cams in its stores to record customers from a first-person perspective as they shop. Is this a good idea? Here's more on that.
Walmart is testing out body cameras in its stores. Online images show some stores have signs warning that cameras are in use. The cameras themselves are yellow and black, designed to be worn either as a necklace or attached to a vest. Walmart says it's just testing them out. It suggests that if it likes the results, cameras could be more common in its stores. On the popular internet forum Reddit, one user wrote, "As if I needed any more reasons to never shop there." Another wrote, "This seems odd."
That would be a nay of body cameras in Walmart. We already have, especially in Walmart, you have, I would say, hundreds of cameras capturing everything that's done within the store. And now it's be even more in your face of a person standing there in front of you.
Business consultant Eric Brown says shoppers may be put off over privacy concerns. Company documents tell employees to record an event if an interaction with a customer is escalating, suggesting the cameras help with troublesome shoppers. Brown, who spent over 20 years as a Green Beret, says security guards are already a strong deterrent.
They could put more training into like the actual de-escalation of talking it out or just getting a police person to take over if you're going to escalate to violence.
The idea is controversial. An executive at the National Retail Federation, David Johnston, says the cameras reduce conflict because people will behave better when they see they're being recorded. But worker groups say this isn't a substitute for de-escalation training.
Conor McGregor and Logan Paul are entering the ring instead of the octagon. The UFC champion said he is delaying his return to MMA and has agreed to face Paul in a boxing exhibition in India. McGregor has not fought since he broke his leg in a TKO loss in 2021. McGregor said he is in preliminary agreements to face Paul. Paul, who is a YouTuber and WWE wrestler, has been in 4 exhibition boxing fights so far. And starting Thursday, you can grab a burrito and chicken nuggets at Taco Bell. The fast food chain, known for Mexican-inspired cuisine, is adding crispy chicken nuggets to the mix. The new nuggets will be coated with breadcrumbs and tortilla chips and zesty jalapeno buttermilk flavor. Parent company Yum Brands says the chicken nuggets will be offered for a limited time and it's while supplies last. And U.S. stocks fell today, and the Dow dropped for a 9th straight session. Investors were more reserved ahead of the Federal Reserve's last policy announcement of the year. The Fed may slow its easing in an economy that appears to have solid momentum and sticky inflation. And this is as the incoming Trump administration is expected to impose policies to stimulate growth and potentially reignite rising prices, maybe with tariffs. Also, the Nasdaq hit a record high on Monday, and S&P 500 is up nearly 27% on the year. The Dow, on the other hand, is struggling and suffered its 9th straight daily decline, and this is its longest losing streak since February 1978. All right, that's all from me in Business Matters. Back to you guys.
So chicken nuggets with your tacos. My sense is children might be driving that decision. I don't think adults are looking for chicken nuggets when they're getting their burrito or their tacos, but sometimes you have a child and they're just hard to please.
Well, I guess, Carrie, I am a child then, because I am not at all opposed to getting some good chicken nuggets while I'm getting my tacos.
Love it.
They're putting a jalapeno buttermilk on these chicken nuggets. You don't enjoy that flavor?
It just seems a little unusual to have chicken nuggets at a Mexican restaurant, so I'm a seeker of truth, Don. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it.
Come on, Carrie, think outside the box. All right.
Well, great stuff, Don. We'll see you again here tomorrow. Appreciate it.
Don.
All right.